The month of love might have come to an end, but the spirit of love definitely hasn't. Welcome to yet another exciting edition of the Chick Chat, right here on the show where we give you the best of real and raw conversations. Thank you so much for allowing me into your sacred space. I absolutely appreciate it. We are shooting this particular episode at Lazy Lion Lodge in Kyalami. If you are looking for an awesome stay in and around Kyalami, please do hit them up on their social media platforms. My guest today epitomizes the character of a true star. She's an actress, an MC, a theater director, and a presenter, amongst other things. You have seen her on Mubango, Ditapo, and Intersections, to mention but a few. She is the literal definition of dynamite coming in small packages. Thank you so much for joining us, Didie.
Thank you very much for having me, and kudos to you for that fire link.
Thank you.
Yes, girl.
Thank you. You look so stunning. I love your skin.
Thank you.
That was the first thing I noticed about you.
Thank you very much.
I want us to go back to the genesis. Fantuka Af, when you started.
Uh-huh.
When you were like, I think 3 or 4, you said in one interview, you wanted to be a musician.
Yeah.
And I want to know when you decided that, this is not for me.
When I couldn't hold a note,
hectic.
I knew, maybe not.
And when was that? At what point of your life?
I mean, you know, like I was still in primary school, I guess. I got kicked out of the choir. My singing voice is just terrible. That's the one thing I cannot do.
So, baho kubile, king ka Sotho ko tebela?
Bantibetse choir.
Like, how khone next sharp go?
Bantibela.
Shame skis.
It's fine, ke fodile.
Next, and no work time with Mawaza.
Thank you.
And I want to speak about your parents. You speak very fondly of them, ne? And I want to know what then they instilled in you that shaped the woman that you are today.
Phew. I think one thing that I can safely say I'm grateful for with my parents is them supporting me from a very young age. But I think it's that thing, yeah. How about Zwadi Babona hore? This is something that you're good at. You know, my parents were lenient enough to not live their lives vicariously through me, but to say Nwanana is good at entertaining us. You know, she's the one that we call when they're guests to come dance and do all these things.
Yeah.
So what point is it to take someone out of their element and then to force them to do something that they're not happy with?
Yeah.
You know, it's and I think that that's something that a lot of young artists who want so badly to do what they want to do struggle with. And it's like, but why you should just let their kids be, because you don't know by letting your child be, they might just end up being the first of something great to happen, you know? So yeah, I have a lot of respect for my parents, and I love them so much because of the support. It hasn't been an easy journey, but at no point did they ever say, how's about maybe you get a 9 to 5, or are you sure this is what you should be doing? Like, at no point did they ever make me feel like I made a mistake for choosing the path that I chose.
And you said they hate the limelight.
Yeah, they're not, nah.
How do they survive with the attention that you constantly get?
I mean, I think I've just found a way to navigate around it. I think for them also, when they tell people, oh, that's my daughter, from all walks of life, say, I don't know if I'm right, but isn't that your daughter? For them, it's something that they're proud of, you know. But what cloud do, or like they just like, keep your stuff there, we're proud of you, but let there be boundaries, because at the end of the day, as Batwa Habatwane, and it's also unfair for me to implicate my way of living onto them.
Absolutely,
you know. So yeah.
In 2007, you were nominated for a Sancta, right?
Yeah. I think it was 2006.
Oh, was it?
Yes, I was in grade 11.
Oh, the article says 2007.
Really?
Yeah.
They lied.
Get your facts right, guys. Anyway, yeah, you got nominated for that, and I want you to take me back to how it felt, because you're quite young.
Yeah. You know, to be honest with you, I was not expecting it. I didn't even know at the time hore such something, a platform like the Sanctas even existed. So when I found out I was nominated, I was like, what? Well, okay, yay, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But I think that further instilled hore I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. You know, if at such a young age of 17 I can get recognition like that, unintentionally so, yeah, man, it just solidified, or you know, this is the journey that I should be on, and it felt great.
And it was the same year where you got an award, I think, for best overall drama student.
But yes, so yes, 2006 I got top achiever, which was, yeah, because there was this girl who used to bag the top achiever since we're in grade 8. And then grade 11, yeah, that's when I got top achiever. I got my full colors, my scrolls and whatever. So that was also awesome, because got the National School of the Arts, that's a really, really big deal, because we are in and amongst other young and budding, you know, professionals, aspiring professionals in that particular field. So it felt great to know, okay, girl, all right,
you're on the right track. Fast forward to Wits, where you directed a show.
Yeah.
As a room full of women.
Yes, ma'am.
I wrote that question, right? And then I didn't read it out loud.
Okay.
And then when I read it, I'm like, this is a very powerful name.
Okay,
this is
yeah.
a very powerful title, rather. And I want to know what inspired you to come up with that kind of title.
So it was quite the journey. I mean, Us, a Room Full of Women, I directed in my final year. And this was like my final exam, you know, so I was confused at first, because I was like, should I just take a classic play and then do a remake? But I've always been so passionate about women, just generally, and I was like, how can I do something that will leave, you know, a mark, that will leave a positive impact? And so I got together with a couple of my friends. So because I had done acting in NSA, I decided to major in directing and television in varsity. So most of my other friends were still majoring in acting and whatever, and they would also then get their acting credits. Boom. So we sat down and we would just basically, all of our rehearsals were basically based on conversations. Just about womanhood, what's expected from us, patriarchy, all these things. And then I was like, okay, what's the title gonna be? And I was like, but it's simple, because the story is about us. And what are the conversations that we're having in this room where it's just women? You know? And I thought, okay, boom. So Us, a Room Full of Women, we devised a piece, and it just basically dealt with, you know, challenging stereotypes that are often associated with women, and just questioning those things, and, you know, also allowing it to be a space that is conversational, where because the play, it wasn't like your classic realist piece. It was like a sort of devised poor theater, you know, minimal props, you know, just things here and there that resemble, because the ladies played multiple characters. So I didn't want to do that thing where people go backstage and they change and the lights go down. I just wanted it to be sort of like a free flowing conversation amongst women, for women, and also just generally for society. And it blew up in a way that I did not expect it to.
I'm sitting here listening to you, because I also devised a piece in my honors year.
Yeah.
And devising is hard.
Yeah.
It's just better to just direct an existing play than to devise it. And I'm just shocked that you had a run at the State Theatre, at the Joburg Theatre, and all these like big theatres.
Yeah.
That is so incredible.
Thank you.
Yo, wow, guys. People are talented. I'm just like, whoa.
But, you know, I also just feel like, just generally as an artist, one must always be willing to expand. Don't box yourself and say, I'm just an actress, or I'm just this, or I'm just that. If the opportunity for you comes to try something out, give it a bash, because how would say you might just end up being good at it, you know?
Yeah. And I want you to take me through the process of directing the play. I directed Eclipsed. I don't know if you know it.
Oh, yes.
And I was working with women only, and that is a very taxing, emotionally taxing process. And I want to know what it was for you and how you went through that process as a director and as a performer.
As a Room Full of Women was probably one of the most challenging things I did in my life. I remember after the 10-day run at the State Theatre, I was exhausted. I walked away from directing, because also so many things happened, you know, and I found where I then had to wear a lot of hats. You know, then I realized now I'm stepping in also as a producer of the show. I'm not just directing anymore. You know, I remember my production manager at the time got shot in the leg. She's fine.
Okay. Thank God.
You know, and then she later on found out she was pregnant. So there was just a whole lot of, now, okay, don't worry about this. You know, you can't expect someone who's injured and who's dealing with that trauma to be doing as much running around and whatever. So I had to wear a lot of hats. By the time we had the run at the State Theatre, we were no longer students. So most of my friends were working actors, and now it was that thing, okay,
Are you gonna
I
pay
know we're
us?
friends, but like, are you gonna pay us? And yes, there was a budget for it, but it wasn't like a big budget. I hardly made any money from it, if at all. In fact, if anything, I spent a lot of my own money. But looking back at it in retrospect, I'm grateful for those challenges, because it's those challenges that force you to step it up, you know, to rise up. I looked at it, I was like, this is my show. This is something that I love dearly. I had to recast at some point because of unavailability, fights, this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, you know how it is. The show must go on.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting there with that pressure, there is no time to be precious or to cave in or be like, oh my gosh. You cry, you wipe your tears, you keep it moving.
Yeah, sure. Wow. Anyway, guys, the producer thought for some inexplicable reason that it's getting hot in here. So we decided, I mustn't. Yeah, there we go. To us female directors who have all female casts, taking it back to the directing, right? You spoke about how the play you were directing was breaking stereotypes, ne? That's associated with being a woman. And I want to know why you feel it's important rather for black women to make bodies of work that sort of debunk and go against those stereotypes.
That is a beautiful question. Thank you. That's a phenomenal question. And I think, you know, the importance of us telling stories, particularly for black women, about black women, is very important, because already as it is, as Ma Africa, we're very secretive, you know. And I remember one of the narratives that I touched on in Us, a Room Full of Women, was this young girl starting her first period. And what inspired me to tell that story within the piece is, I remember when I was much young, you know, when you experience your first menstrual cycle, there's a friend of mine that we had been playing with the day before. And we were riding bikes and whatever. And then I think she started her period. And then she came to me and my sister the next day, and she was like, yeah, my mom said I can't play with you guys anymore. We're like, why? She's like, no, because your bicycles hurt me. We're like, wait, you didn't fall? And then we realized, oh, baby girl got her period. But I mean, because I had an older sister, my mom had already sort of had the conversation with me, so that I also know what to expect. But you know, that stuck with me, because I was like, hi Selimo asa qadile her period. Why isn't the mother sitting her down and explaining what is happening with her body? The mother is aware of what's going on, but instead she still hides this thing from this girl and says, what were you doing yesterday? And she said, no, I was playing with a bike. And she said, well, the bike must have hurt you. And I was like, it's dynamics like that where parents don't talk to their children, and then children go and they seek, you know, advice or fabricated knowledge from external people, and then that's when they end up doing things, but because they're not informed. And there's just so many things. I mean, even now, as time developing and everything with gender-based violence and whatever, most of these things primarily stem from the fact that our parents didn't sit us down and have the necessary conversations with us when we were much younger. You know, patriarchy starts from a young age, where if you're sitting maybe with your brother watching TV or something, and like innocently as a child would, your mom is gonna come and say, yay, you know. And already as a young girl, that resonates as there's something wrong with this area. But if I come to you as a mom and I say, okay, Nana, a lady must always sit with her legs don't make it a bad thing. Don't associate negativity with my femininity, because when I grow up, that's the notion that I'm going to grow up with. And then that's when, you know, men start mistreating us or treating us the way that they should. We're like, it's okay because there's a negative connotation towards my femininity. But if you speak life into it from the get-go and you empower me from the get-go, then it becomes very hard for an external factor to come and tell me about my essence. You know, so that's just one of the things that I wanted to highlight in the play. I just also wanted to highlight, as women, let's walk away from being judgmental towards one another. Let's move away from constantly wanting to put each other down. So in the show, one of the things that I also wanted to highlight is, as women, we must learn to empower one another and to be less judgmental of one another, because men do it so effortlessly. You know, men have each other's backs. It's not even a question. It's yo, and then it's like sure, and then you know. And if you look at it, it's like what I said, it stems from the fact that there's always this negative connotation that is associated with our femininity. So those are constructs that we need to learn how to deconstruct, you know. And so
I think what I took away the most from what you just said is that we shouldn't associate negativity with our femininity.
Absolutely.
And that's how I want to wrap up the conversation of directing and swiftly move over to acting. You mentioned quite a few times that you're very proud of Bosotho Bakgao, right? And I've always thought, does it not limit you to within the perimeters of certain characters and certain shows?
Another good question.
Thank you.
Damn, girl, you got it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, when I got out of varsity, this is like when I left varsity, I sort of looked at the scope of the industry and I said, there are so many beautiful young girls who are my age who want to act. I'm just like, but only a fraction, because there I am, COVID, but there's still, you know, cats coming from Rhodes, from AFTA, from Pretoria, from UCT, you know. And I was just like, how do I stand out from the rest? How do I make sure when I step in a room, there's a signature mark about me that says Moliehi is in the building, you know? And I thought, well, I don't know of any Sotho actors at the moment. Like, and all those, you know, those stories that back in the day. And I thought, well, I mean, my Sesotho's on fire.
It is.
You know, so let me just be the girl and let me make that my signature thing. It's I'm also proud of my heritage. I'm proud of my culture. And I just also felt like, man, I feel like as Basotho, we're not getting enough representation. And instead of complaining about it, let me be that girl. Let me be the modern Sesotho girl who kills it. And in as much as, yes, it was difficult at first, because there's certain shows that I don't book because I don't speak Zulu, I don't speak Xhosa, and so on and so forth. I also then learned, but there is space for me, because in the same breath, there have been many shows that I auditioned for that were tailored for Nguni speaking people. And I walked in and they were like, Nguni, I'm like, nah, just Sesotho. And because my talent spoke in volumes more than just the language, it was always easy for them to then just, you know, restructure the story in such a way that it works out for a Sesotho speaking person. So that also once again solidified, if you're deliberate and you're intentional about something, and you're not doing something just for the vibe or just for the hype, it will pay off. It may take time, but it definitely will pay off, because that then gave me the confidence to carry Bosotho Baka with the utmost pride. And not only that, I was also making my people proud. You know, absolutely. So that
Intersections was one of the shows, right?
Intersections was
written for you.
Intersections was one of the shows. Yes, it was originally written for a Xhosa speaking girl.
Hectic.
And I auditioned Sesotho Saka in my essence,
and you killed it.
And I killed it.
You were so amazing on it.
There's another show that I auditioned for. There I lied and I said I could speak Zulu. But it's because I was tired of not getting work also. And then they sent me the script, Xhosa, and then I called my agent. I was like, I lied.
And then?
Help.
By Ngwala 44.
By Chincha,
Must
the
be
background
nice,
story.
being
So
talented.
no, it must be nice. Just like I say, being deliberate and intentional.
Yeah.
Just always know why you're doing something. Don't just do something just. Otherwise, you know. But if you're intentional, it means what's not for you. You're like, okay, you bow out gracefully, and what is for you will always find you.
Absolutely. You know what I like about you? Like I said, I think I told you this off screen, and I said this is the ultimate compliment that I give a performer. Your vocal range with every character. I can see the acting. I can see how this is different. Moliehi, Mona, Lee, Didie Mo, they different, or this character, but the vocal work. I always feel like kind of what's that show that you were on SABC2? It's the Sotho one, the Sotho sitcom.
Yes.
Like how you sound, there's not how you sounded on Intersections. It's not how you sound on Ditapo. And I was so amazed at your vocal range. I absolutely love it. And I want to know why it's important for actors to give a little bit more of a push to the vocal work and not just the acting. Because you know how actors are. We're very good with the gestures and the, you know, acting
overall
on the face. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And not the vocal work. You know? So I want to know, why is it important for actors to go there vocally?
Firstly, and I, this is why I also think just training in anything that you do, it doesn't have to be, you know, higher educational training, but just for Zamadi workshop.
Yes.
You know, just to learn to broaden your horizons as an artist. It's very important. Fortunately for me, having had gone to drama school, these are things that we were taught in drama school. You know, you're taught how to breathe, you're taught how to speak, you're taught how to articulate or express yourself under different circumstances. So for example, the vocal range that I use on television is completely different from the vocal range that I use when I'm on stage. Characters as well. Pinky was Pinky, you know, so I can't give her the same energy that my other characters are. And it's not to say all the directors were like, can you change your voice? Not sitting down when I was looking at the character bio, I said, okay, how can we just add some sparkle into this girl's character? How can we make her different from all the other characters that I've played? And that's when I was like, okay, let's give her a different voice. Let's play around with that. Let's move around with that. And that's just the thing. When you're given a character, you must also understand that you're given the carte blanche to add meat onto that skeleton. So go for gold. You're a performer. You're a creative. Why not? Why not play? And just have fun. Not everything has to be linear. You know? So I every single character that I get, I marvel in, because I'm like, how can we make her fun and different, even if she's a boring dull character? But you know, like when I was playing, what's her name on Mubango, Maureen. Maureen was a church girl. She's completely different from the person that I am. And I was like, man, but she still has to have that thing that is, you know. So even like Abu Church girl back, you know, I was playing around with the voice.
I saw that.
More gentle, low register, understanding.
I absolutely caught that when I was watching you.
Because we have fun. This is what you do. This is what you're meant to do. This is why you're given the tools so that you can work, you know, with your surroundings and bring life to it.
And speaking of range, now we go to the acting range. This is not a question. I just love your acting range.
Thank you.
I absolutely love her acting range. I don't know how she moves from sitcoms to keeping score away. It's serious nyana, and I can't. It's a lot, but it's very good. I absolutely love it.
Thank you, Mama.
Speaking of range, I love your vocal range, but I also love your acting range.
Thank you, girl.
I don't know how she moves from doing sitcoms, which are very difficult. Phew, I'm scared of sitcoms too. To doing serious things like, you know, keeping score and mubango, being gentle. I really, really commend and love your acting range. Keep at it.
Thank you, Mama.
I want to move over and make you listen to a voice note. There's somebody who once worked with you.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah. So I asked them, how was working with Didie?
Who is this?
You know the person. You probably will pick up the voice. And this is what they had to say about you.
Okay.
Okay, is sound ready?
This is speaking, I'll be honest, she's one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my life. She's amazing. Like when she's on set, she says love, dog. It's all about laughing. It's all about we all laughing and we all having a good time. And she treats everybody with respect. She doesn't respect you. Doesn't matter what position you're doing, what department you're on. She respects everyone. And she gives love, you know what I'm saying? But when it's time to go to work, it's time to work. She works. So she's a very loving person. She loves people. She loves what she does. And she loves taking care of people.
It's my small boy.
Yeah, that's what he had to say about you.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
I'm honored. I'm very, very honored, and it's great to hear people speak, positively of you, because I know hore the actor bongata ba bona ba sokodisa,
Yeah.
So and it's a real honor, because I think, and this is why also going back to just getting the training and understanding everyone's role in a production, understanding that yes, I may be the actor, but without sound, without camera, without makeup, without the entire production team,
There's no acting.
there's no acting.
Yeah.
And I think just having had the opportunity to also at some point in my career to have worked behind the scenes, also it gives you that thing, yeah, wa utlwisisa hore mesebetsi ya batho is tough. And I respect crew, because those people work around the clock, whereas even in a 12-hour day, at some point I could have a break to rest, to recuperate between scenes. They work a full 12-hour day, sometimes even more, like up to 18-hour days. These people don't sleep, and they're doing this just so that as a performer, I look good on camera or I look good on stage. And I think this sentiment, this attitude is something that I took. I remember when I did my first ever gig in Go Ekasiawa Stories. This was back in 2011, 10 years ago. My first gig. The lady I was working with, yeah,
Sure.
the lady I was working with, Unombo Ndembuzi, I'll never forget her. She said to me, she's like, Didie, this is and in a low budget. And then I didn't know the difference between low budget and high budget. I was just happy to be on camera, And one of the things that she said to me was, in this industry, when you grow, because I can see you're going far, your acting is good, you're trained, you're qualified. One of the things that you must take with you is that in this industry, nobody is above you, nobody is below you. You are part and parcel of a team. So the minute I step on set and I'm like, I have arrived, serve me, that's nonsense.
Yeah, true.
That is absolute nonsense. Because if I know my lines, I make your life easier. If you know what you're doing as sound, camera, you're making my life easier. So how are as people? How is that thing? Respect comes first in everything that you do. Skanyat's about to, because the tables will turn, my darling.
Yeah, true.
And it's an honor to have, the likes of I can't believe Small Boy. When I met him, he was so young. God bless his beautiful soul, and now he's doing amazing things.
Yeah, he is.
But it's such an honor to have people talk this highly of you,
Yeah.
because now he's doing great things.
Yeah.
And look at he's putting me on.
True.
So
And
let
he's
that be a lesson.
True. He's not the only one who said this. I think I spoke to someone about you. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
And the first thing that came up, apart from the talent, is the humility. And I think that is very amazing, that outside your talents, because I always tell people, apart from your talent, who are you? Apart from your career and all the nice things that you do. So I really, really love that about you.
Thank you, Mama.
Ke batla ko radio no. You were co-hosting a mid-morning show on Radio Veritas. Are you ever going to come back on our airwaves?
I'm still there. Yeah. I'm still there.
Why? Why then does it say you're no longer there?
Who said I'm no longer there? Google is lying. I'm
Google
still
lies.
there. Yes, I have reached a point where I also feel like I'm ready to move on and to grow. But it's not something that I'm going to abandon just like overnight, because that also carved, you know, I used to think radio is easy. Much like a lot of people think acting is easy. I just think, you get there, make a noise. It's technical.
Yeah.
Links, sharp, everything. It's very, very technical. It's more technical than it is conversational.
Theater of the mind, ne? Is it the one? Is it radio? That's theater of the mind.
I don't know. I just know
so.
Is it theater of the
Something
mind?
like that. Something like that. Something like theater of the mind, where they speak about, I could be wrong though, speak about how you paint images for.
Well, yes.
You know what I
yes,
mean?
to
Yeah.
a large degree, I
Yeah.
can absolutely agree. Absolutely. It is theater of the mind, because you are basically ushering your listeners into your world.
True.
So they know hore as soon as ke mamela lenaneo lenana, this is what I can expect. I know this is how I'm going to be left feeling in the beginning of the show, during the show, and at the end of the show. And it's theater of the mind. It's also how you engage with your audience, and you keep them engaged, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that, yeah, it's been a lovely learning experience. I didn't think I would find myself in radio. It literally started off as me going there and giving 5-minute motivational talks, and then I would start coming in like 30 minutes earlier, just to like check out the vibe, what's happening. And you know, then my co-host would put me on like, hey, say something. Like, I think, and then he's like, no, come through, let's. So we started off like on a Wednesday slot, and then after that they moved us to a Saturday slot for us to then have our own mid-morning show. Yeah. So it's always room to grow and improve thyself. You know?
True, and more ways to make money. Because
Absolutely.
our industry is tough. Yeah. I want to wrap it up, but I was looking at your journey, and you've done so many things since you started. And if I were to like have an obituary of you, how would it read?
Whew. Isn't that a hard question? Aren't obituaries like based on like what people thought of you?
Me, I want you to tell me what you thought of yourself.
What I
you
thought of
think
myself.
yourself.
What I think of myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeez, I haven't thought of my death like that.
What about death?
No,
It's
okay.
mostly about
You
what
said
you think.
obituary, and I was like, oh my gosh, funeral.
No, I'm not killing her.
No,
yes.
no, I know.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no. It's about
No.
what you think about yourself.
Shoo. I think my obituary would probably read along the lines of someone who is fearless in going for whatever sets their soul on fire.
Sure.
That's me. If I wake up and I decide I want to do something, I go for it. I may fail. It may not, come into, like, it may not grow or develop into something major. But one thing that I can always pat myself on the shoulder with is the fact that I tried. I gave it a shot, you know? And that's just me. I think one of the things that would be said, which is also something that I live by, is I literally want to wake up and do different things every day for the rest of my life. You know, it would read as someone who loved trying out new things, someone who was a risk taker, someone who loved and respected people in their overall essence, regardless of the context of where we are. And I think it would also read as someone who is not afraid to dream, who is a visionary, and who is not afraid to be the first to accomplish something in whatever they do. Yeah.
You know why I asked that question? Because it's so difficult for performers or actors or people who are called to give to speak so highly of themselves. We're so used to other people telling us that Didie's a good actress, Didie's a good motivational speaker, and I wanted you to hear yourself say it. You know what I mean? And I also did this when I was directing. Before I started any rehearsal process.
Yeah.
I'd want to hear the performer say, I'm beautiful, I'm talented, and I'm enough. Because we're so used to hearing it from other people and not from ourselves. And that brings us to the end of this conversation.
How are you going to end this conversation and make me emotional? That's ridiculous, but thanks.
Where's Kupa tissue, Kupa toilet paper, Kupa something? Askies.
No, it's fine. It's good. We need to affirm, and it's great. It's great what you do, because sometimes I think we depend so much on the external that we forget to acknowledge. We forget to acknowledge that we still do get up and push no matter how hard it is. So I think also just thank you for that reminder.
Thank you.
It's thanks. It's something that I'm definitely going to take away with me.
Well, thank you for coming on to the Chick Chat. I really appreciated you making time for us. I do hope that you go into the industry and flourish even more, do bigger things, and do what you told me off screen. You guys probably didn't hear it. Didie is very passionate about empowering other people, and that's what stood out for me with her. And I do hope that you carry on that banter and you do open opportunities for other black women in particular that are coming after you, and you know that we're cheering you on. We love you so much. We love your work. I love your acting. I love your vocal range, and I absolutely enjoyed having you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And continue to thrive and push through no matter how difficult it is. Just push through.
Thank you.
Everything that you're doing right now, I guarantee you one day you will look back and say it was tough, but thank God it happened, because it wouldn't have molded you into the person that you're becoming. And I can see it. You're going to walk into your essence so gracefully. So just keep doing it. If I can do it, girl, you can do it. And if she can do it, you can do it. And you, everybody.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Please do keep the conversation going on social media. It is Tembisa Content TV on Facebook and YouTube. We are also on Twitter. It is Tembisa_TV. We are also on Instagram. It is Tembisa_CTV. Until next time, we got to go over.
It's weird. How do we keep running?
I think. Can I cut this? No, I don't cut this out.
Was the outro
But you
fine?
can cut this out. Yeah, that's fine.